You don't notice it at first. It begins with charm, attention, the kind you've secretly longed for. They mirror your soul so well, it feels divine. You feel chosen, special, finally seen. But what you don't see is the mask. Behind that perfect smile lies a distortion, a person whose identity is built, not on authenticity, but illusion. And once you've invested enough, once your heart is tangled deep enough, that's when the cracks begin to show. They don't apologize, only redirect. They don't love you, they love the control. And more than anything, they thrive by feeding you lies. Because the narcissist doesn't operate in truth. They survive through manipulation, crafting stories, not just to protect their ego, but to rewrite your reality. In this video, we'll explore 10 of the most common lies all narcissists tell, each more dangerous than the last. Lies that make you question your sanity. Lies that make you shrink your truth. Lies that pull you deeper into emotional dependency. This isn't just about awareness. This is about freedom, because the moment you see the lie for what it is, you take back the power it once stole. Let's begin. It begins when they feel cornered. When you finally build up the courage to confront their behavior. When you lay out your hurt, your confusion, your trembling truth, suddenly they shift the spotlight. They cry louder than you. Their pain somehow becomes bigger than yours. They speak in wounded tones. After everything I've done for you, you always twist things. I can't believe how you treat me. And just like that, you begin to doubt yourself. You replay the argument. You wonder if you were too harsh, if you misunderstood. You apologize to the person who hurt you. This is the narcissist's first and most insidious weapon, reversing the roles. They weaponize empathy. They make you the villain in your own story. Dr. 𝑵𝒂𝒓𝒔, a psychologist specializing in narcissistic abuse, calls this victim playing as a form of gaslighting, because when someone repeatedly insists they're the injured one even as they tear you down, you start to abandon your own emotional compass. But here's the truth. You are allowed to speak your pain without apology. Don't confuse their self-pity for remorse. Guilt isn't proof of wrongdoing, and not every tear is evidence of innocence. You express your needs. You talk about what bothered you. You say, "That hurt me," or "I didn't feel heard." Their response, "You're overreacting. You're too emotional. Stop making a big deal out of nothing." And like a slow poison, it enters your system. You begin to silence yourself. You swallow feelings whole. You second-guess your emotions, the one thing that was supposed to protect you. This lie is cruel because it's subtle. It doesn't scream abuse. It whispers self-doubt. The narcissist doesn't need to yell to control you. They just have to convince you that your voice is unreasonable. This is what Dr. Susan Forward, in her book Emotional Blackmail, refers to as redefining reality. They redefine you not as hurt, but as irrational, not as vulnerable, but as too much. But let's be clear, sensitivity is not a flaw. It's a strength twisted by the wrong hands. Feeling deeply is not the issue. Feeling unseen is. And anyone who uses your heart against you doesn't deserve a seat at your table. It sounds romantic at first, like a vow, like a line straight out of a love song. But make no mistake, this is not affection. This is emotional captivity dressed as devotion. What they're really saying is, "You won't find better. You're lucky to have me. No one else will tolerate you." It's not about love. It's about control through fear. This lie is meant to shrink your world, to make you question your worth, to trap you in a cage where they are both your jailer and your rescuer. And many people stay not because they're happy, but because they've been convinced there's nothing better. But here's the truth. Real love does not chain you to someone's cruelty. It doesn't isolate you. It doesn't whisper threats under the mask of romance. In Women Who Love Too Much, Robin Norwood writes that the moment we start equating love with suffering, we've already lost ourselves. Let this be the reminder. If someone truly loved you, they'd set you free, not imprison you with guilt or dependency. You are not hard to love. You've just been around someone who wanted you to believe that. When they raise their voice, when they isolate you from friends, when they monitor your every move or guilt trip you into submission. They don't call it control. They call it love. I'm just trying to protect you. I only said that because I care. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't even bother. And that's the poison. They rebrand domination as devotion. This is manipulation disguised as protection. It's love used as a leash. In the verbally abusive relationship, Patricia Evans outlines how narcissists twist intimacy into obligation. They create a narrative where you owe them your obedience because they love you. But love that suffocates is not love. Love does not demand you surrender your independence to prove loyalty. Love doesn't guilt you into compliance. Here's the raw truth. When someone uses love as justification for harm, it is not love. It is control. It is fear. It is insecurity masquerading as concern. Real love gives you room to breathe, to grow, to say no without being punished for it. Never let someone convince you that pain is the price of being cared for. It always starts the same way. You express pain. You name something that hurt. You ask for a little empathy, and then they drop the line like a gavel. You're too sensitive. You take everything too personally. God, can't you take a joke? This lie is one of their favorites because it flips the script. Suddenly, you're not hurt, they say you're dramatic. You're not responding, they say you're overreacting. Your emotions become the problem, not their behavior. This is emotional gaslighting, plain and simple. It's a way to dismiss accountability and rewrite the story. In Gaslighting by Stephanie Moulton Sarkis, she describes this tactic as a subtle form of psychological abuse meant to undermine your confidence and reality. The goal isn't to solve the conflict. It's to make you question your right to feel at all. But your feelings are valid. Your hurt is not a weakness, and your sensitivity, that's not a flaw. It's a form of truth-telling that narcissists can't stand. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to say this hurt me and not be belittled for it. Sensitivity is not the enemy. Emotional invalidation, this one is colder, sharper, more dangerous. It usually arrives after you've caught them in a contradiction, or when you've started to see the mask slip, or when you finally start standing up for yourself. That's when they push the nuclear button. You're insane. You're imagining things. You seriously need help. They want to dismantle your mind, because if they can't win the argument, they'll attack your sanity. This is gaslighting at its most brutal. It's not just about denying an event, it's about erasing your entire sense of reality. In The Narcissist's Playbook by Dana Morningstar, she explains how narcissists systematically chip away at your trust in your own mind. So you rely more and more on their version of events. That's how control works, not by force, but by confusion. They plant the seeds of doubt until you water them yourself, until you start thinking, maybe I am overthinking. Maybe it is all in my head. Maybe they're right. But here's what's true. If you're asking these questions, it's because something is off. Your intuition is trying to speak, but someone's trying to silence it. You are not crazy. You are waking up. You are seeing patterns that were always there. Only now you're strong enough to name them. And that's terrifying to a narcissist, because once you stop doubting yourself, you start walking away. You made it to the end, and maybe somewhere along the way something clicked. A line echoed something you've heard before. A behavior felt a little too familiar. A wound was reopened, but this time, it had a name. That's not a coincidence. That's clarity. That's truth breaking through years of manipulation. Narcissists don't just lie to others. They lie to you about you. They twist your kindness into weakness. They label your love as obsession. They poison your trust and call it a gift. But here's what they fear most. They fear the day you stop believing them. The day you see through the charm. The day their fake apologies no longer hypnotize you. The day you realize this wasn't love. This was control wrapped in flattery. This wasn't care. It was manipulation cloaked in affection. And when that day comes, you reclaim your voice. You take back your sanity. You rebuild your sense of worth, not from what they gave, but from what they tried to steal. You are not too sensitive. You are not the problem. You are not crazy. You are recovering. You are remembering. You are rising. And you will know one an apology for learning to protect your peace. Let the narcissist tell their lies. You walk in truth now. There is a silence that follows narcissistic abuse, not the kind of silence that brings peace, but the kind that feels like standing in the middle of a battlefield after the war has ended, where everything is still, but nothing is safe, because long after the narcissist is gone, their words still echo in your mind. You're too sensitive. No one else will love you like I do. This is all your fault. And even though you've walked away, part of you still looks back, wondering if they were right, if you were the one who broke it, if maybe, just maybe, the love you were craving was asking for too much. But here's the truth most people won't say. They didn't just lie to you. They taught you how to lie to yourself. They taught you how to second-guess your gut, how to mistrust your own memory, how to shrink, then mold yourself, just to earn a scrap of affection. They taught you to believe that love means pain, that closeness means walking on eggshells, that being wanted means being controlled, and perhaps the cruelest lie of all, that the chaos, the instability, the manipulation was love. But now you see it for what it was. It wasn't passion, it was power. It wasn't love, it was possession. And you, dear soul, you are not broken. You are not hard to love. You are not who they said you were. You are healing. You are remembering. You are finding your way back to a version of yourself untouched by their darkness. It will take time. It will hurt. You will grieve the person you were while you were surviving them. But piece by piece, breath by breath, you will rise. Not bitter, not destroyed, not vengeful, but clear. Clear about your worth. Clear about your boundaries. Clear about the kind of love you will no longer tolerate. You were never too much. You were never not enough. You were just in the wrong story. And now, you're writing your own.